Showing women what's possible is my mission.
Just start with small steps.
Hey, you were my rock. I never actually thought you would leave me. I thought you would always give me another chance. I don't like to take a call before 10:30 in the morning. My mornings are my sacred time. And I started questioning, like looking at how other women were treated by their husbands, how they're treated by their families.
Just keep dreaming, believing in yourself, and it's all possible.
All of us matter, and we all have our own goals and dreams, but we're the only ones that are going to be able to help us get there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Escape the Matrix podcast. And I am your host, Ella Rivkin, and you have just entered the space where we question everything that we were taught to be, and instead explore who we truly are. This podcast is about letting go of what doesn't feel right. It's breaking old patterns and choosing a life that feels like you. We talk to real people who said no to what was expected and decided to create their own path. And today I have a very special guest with me, a woman who have walked the path in her own unique way and who is now holds space for others to do the same. So without further ado, let me welcome Amy Sanders. She is a best-selling author, master certified life coach, and a serial entrepreneur who has built the life and career around helping women smash their limited beliefs.
Welcome, you. Amy. And it's an honor to be here. I'm so happy to be here and be part of this. So thank you for the nice welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for being here and sharing your own life stories, experiences, and how actually you were able to escape the matrix. So if you can just maybe to start with, if you can just share with us, like, what was that moment that triggered you and you realized, okay, enough is enough?
I mean, I think it was a series of moments. I was raised in a place I was raised in a very religious background home that was also very patriarchal. So we were taught to, essentially the women were taught to like work really hard and essentially self-betray. Like, don't ever, whatever you want does not matter. We need to make sure that we are serving our elders and serving men, and that's how I was raised. So what that did was it led me into a really unhealthy first marriage where I was just repeating the pattern of my childhood. And I ended up going through a lot of abuse, a lot of different things. But if I were to talk about a moment or a series of moments, it was when I realized, after having now 3 small kids with this husband, that I didn't want my daughter. So I had 2 sons and I had a daughter. And as I was in that relationship, as I saw them in their cute little perfect, young, naive brains, bodies, I remember thinking, I do not want my daughter to think that this is okay. And I absolutely do not want my boys to also think this is okay and then start treating other girls like this. And so it was almost the strength of my children that set the stage for me to then say, okay, enough is enough. I can't keep doing this. And understanding, I've always been into personal development, but also just looking back and like, so how did I get here? And realizing it was because I was accepting what I thought was it was my normal, but what I thought we were supposed to do as women, and also knowing that like this inner conflict in me, it was never going away. So I was like, well, in order to make a change, the only change I can make is like me. Like, I have to make the change and I have to decide what I will accept and what I won't accept. And so that is essentially like when I finally was like, okay, I need to recreate my life, which brought up a lot of fears because, again, it's like if you get divorced, I was taught that divorce is not acceptable. You figure it out no matter what. You continually serve, so there was just all of these like tapes and stereotypes that I was trying to be, which weren't who I was. And so, but I guess that would be the moment or series of moments that got me to that place. But then
wow, thank you so much for sharing. And it must have been very challenging. And you did mention the all the challenges that you went through. So I'm just curious, what was like that hardest mask that you had to take off when you realized
Uh,
that?
to please everyone else. And I call myself a recovering people pleaser. And I like to tell people like how extreme I was. So when I was so good at self-betraying and not listening to what I wanted, so good at it that even when my ex-husband proposed to me, we had been dating for 3 weeks, only 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And my whole body was freaking out. Like like my throat was really tight, my head to toe just chills, not the good ones, not the butterflies that you're so excited because he's proposing, but because I knew that I shouldn't. And I knew this was not the right decision for me. But I also had it in back of my head, like, well, he checks the marks of what my parents want me to do. And I was so conditioned to never say no. Like, you do not say no to anything, especially to men. And so my boundaries, I didn't really have any. And so I said yes. I actually left him on his knee as I was like having this massive panic attack. And I didn't know what to say. And so what I said was, well, did you ask my dad? It was in a snowstorm, he's on his knee. And I don't know, like, I can't believe he's proposing. I mean, it had been 3 weeks. I was freaking out. And
Oh,
when that
wow.
happened, I
Yeah.
was like, well, what did my dad say? So that was my next question. Instead of being like, this doesn't feel right, or can we have more time? I said, well, what does my
Exactly.
dad
Then
say?
you start thinking about, you start thinking about what did your dad said, and like you said, instead of checking your
Mm-hmm.
own boxes, you were checking the boxes of your
Exactly. Yeah. And
parents.
that's when I say like a recovering people pleaser. It's like the biggest lesson I learned because it's like so good at not listening to me to the point that I even married someone that I knew that I shouldn't marry. My entire body was alarming
Yeah.
and I did it anyway. And then that led to more
Wow.
heartache and pain and everything else because he wasn't a good fit for me. And so, yeah, like I was
Wow.
learning how to listen to myself and realize that what I have to say is important, that it's okay, that I can have my own wants and dreams and all of that. Like I had to relearn and recreate all of that.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And and it's actually it's very common. I mean, I went through the same things, and I think many of our viewers watching this and listening, they could probably resonate with all of this, because I love how you mentioned it's, like we were conditioned from our childhood. There's certain things that we need to follow
Mm-hmm.
and do. And then that conditioning, that brought us to the point where you're already all grown up, and then life happens, but then you live not your own life, but you live someone else's life, but the way you were
Yeah. And that's
conditioned.
exactly what I was doing. Like
Yeah.
within the religion, like I looked really perfect. Our family looked perfect. We had these perfect little kids. Like
Yeah.
everything was quote, quote, what I was quote, quote, supposed to do. And yet
Yeah.
behind closed doors, our life looked very different than what they looked like to the external world. And I was dying inside. It's just like, this is so far from what I dreamed my life would be like as a little girl. But, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, well, I love you just mentioned that you felt and you had your dreams, and then you were dying inside. And then how a lot of the times how we have all these dreams, but then at some point we just put them somewhere on the shelf, we forget about them. And then instead of believing ourselves, believing in our dreams, then we start living our life with someone else's dreams and someone else's conditioning and
yeah,
choices. Yeah. So, well, this is great. So then let me ask you this. Then how did you actually begin reconnecting with
yeah.
your own truth?
Great question. I love this question. And honestly, it was really simple and hard at the same time. And what I mean by that is I was so good at not knowing what I wanted, or always down to what other people would eat. Like I would make food according to what my husband wanted and what my kids wanted. I would schedule my entire day around what everyone else wanted. We went to his family. We stopped seeing my family. Like everything was around other people. And so making the change was asking myself what I actually wanted and pausing long enough to think about it. And what it looked like was I'm going to make chicken breast tonight instead of meatloaf because I want it. I mean, so ridiculous, but that felt empowering to me. Something as small as like, it's okay for me to also have food that I want to eat tonight. And so those little things, it's okay for me to, my husband at the time, he didn't really help out with the kids much. And I had I had 3 kids under the age of 4. And so it was very busy and it was very hard. He was gone a lot. And so I would say, wait, I can get a babysitter. Like these are things that most people just think about, but I was so far away from myself that they weren't even part of my brain. And so me saying, I can get a babysitter so I can go on a bike ride. This is something I can do. Like it was things that I didn't even think about. And I was like, wow, that feels empowering to not have little kids all around me or to be pushing a running stroller or have something hitched to the back of my bike, like a trailer hitched to my, just to be myself. I had to start really small, but those little small things felt empowering, which gave me strength to then do it more. And the more that I did it, the more, I knew I was not aligned, right? But you are trying to tell yourself that you are and that this is what life is and that it's okay. Like you're always trying to like talk yourself into what your current reality is. And as I started questioning my reality and I started questioning, like looking at how other women were treated by their husbands, how they were treated by their families, like the dissonance that gap was getting so big that I couldn't not see it anymore. And it was because I started asking myself like the super, super simple questions of, what do I want for dinner? What do I want to do today? Like, can I have some of my own time? And realizing that I could and that nothing fell apart. Like, what if I don't do the dishes right when the dinner's done, but I do them in an hour from now and I go outside and play with the kids? Like little things. But those little things became big things that continually stacked on top of each other. And the biggest decision I made during that time that just felt like monumental was that my ex-husband had this family reunion, which I had a lot of relationships there from just going to his family stuff a lot. But he got to, the men got to really do whatever they wanted at this family reunion. It was 4 days long and 3 to 4 days long. And like the women were always watching the kids. There was a river. You were camping in a tent. It was not great. And 90% of the time with the way it fell, like there was always rain. So for me to be with like 3 kids under the age of 4, there's a river, there's like hiking, like it's scary. Anyway, it's a lot of work basically. And preparing the food, everything you have to do to go to this family reunion. And one day I just said, I'm actually not going to go this year. It blew his mind. He did not believe me, but I was like, I'm not going to go this year. And we were separated at the time. He didn't want anyone to know, but that was another massive decision I made that, wait, can I really do this? Just not go to his family reunion. I had never even considered that before. Right. But I did pack the kids' clothes. I didn't make him pack them. I packed the kids' clothes and I let him figure it out with getting food and everything and having to actually watch them there. Cause it was playtime for the men, but for the women, it was a lot of work. And so that was the biggest decision that I made during that time where I'm like, I'm putting my foot down and I'm saying no. And it felt so liberating. And it wasn't out of a place of selfishness. I mean, we really were separated. So this should be, kind of normal. But for him, he just could not believe that I would do such a thing because I never had before. I would just, whatever he wants, whatever, I would always just serve. So that's some of the things that I did on my way to changing.
Wow. This is amazing. This is phenomenal. Well, for those of you that are watching us, the most powerful insider is waiting for you at the very, very end of this conversation. So make sure that you're staying till the end. And this is amazing what you're sharing. It's, not only as a woman, but for us as individuals, it's the hardest thing, obviously, is to say no. And a lot of the times, it's, like we have all this in our head. There's certain things, okay, we want to be doing, we have the dreams, the beliefs, but then the self-confidence, the doubt. And I love how you mentioned, the thing is just, just start with small steps. The just small thing that you start implementing and doing. And this is exactly what you started doing. First, it started with cooking, just chicken and for dinner. And then, and I think for those that are watching women business owners, if there's some certain challenges that you're experiencing in your life and you just want to start, then just start with small things. And I love, Amy, how you mentioned just know what is it that you want to be doing. Because that's, I think, another thing, like we, at some point, we're thinking of everyone else, what everyone else wants us to do, but it's knowing what exactly that we want to do, and then start just with that small action. And it's all about action. You do one thing, as you mentioned, and it worked and it felt good.
Yeah, it was liberating every single time I made a decision for me. And it wasn't out of selfishness. That's what I want women to hear, is a lot of times when you're doing this, you feel like you're being selfish. It's not selfish. All of us matter and we all have our own goals and dreams, but we're the only ones that are going to be able to help us get there because we know what they are and we know who we are, right? At least we need to know who we are. Figure it out if you don't know yet. But all of those little things, I felt like the world would collapse, like by me choosing some of these simple decisions for myself, and nothing collapsed. In fact, I then had more to give to my kids because I was filling part of my own cup. I had less resentment for my role as a mom, and I was able to show up better for them. And with my ex, like he started to, he lashed out, let's be honest, and he did for a while, but he realized that he couldn't take advantage of me anymore. And one thing he said that like just stuck with me is he's like, and there was a lot of reasons that led to the divorce. I won't go into detail with them here, but like a lot of people would have left a lot sooner than I did. And when I did leave, he was like, hey, you were my rock. I never actually thought you would leave me. I thought you would always give me another chance. And this was after I'm like, I gave him so many chances, way too many chances. And it was because of my own self-betrayal that I gave him so many. But sometimes like you need to take back your own power. And when you do, that respect that other people have for you, whether it's non-existent or it's a little bit there, whatever it is, it will go up. And it did go up. It took a little while because he lashed out. He didn't believe that I would truly stand my ground and like actually leave him. But when I did, he was like, what? I didn't expect this. I'm like, well, that's because he expected me to be a doormat and I wasn't anymore,
Yeah, wow. I love that. You need to be able to take back your own power.
Yeah.
Wow. That's strong. I love that. So then what do you no longer apologize for?
I mean, truly, if it's not like a yes, like my whole body is a yes, then it's a no for me. And what that has done, honestly, along the lines of this whole like learning my own boundaries and my own strength and my own, all of the things that I've learned over time, again, I'm not perfect at it. I'm a recovering people pleaser. It's like the MO is to go back to saying yes, right? Like that's what we want to do. But if I don't feel good about it, I don't do it. And what has happened is some of my relationships that I had as I started putting different boundaries in place and started respecting myself, they went away for a while. Some relationships never came back, but the ones that mattered came back. And honestly, I have a better relationship with them and they have such deep respect for me because of how I show up. Now, when it comes to this, and I know I keep saying it's not out of selfishness, when it comes to this and people see your own boundaries and they see what you will and will not put up with, they will respect you more, but then you have an opportunity to have deeper connections, deeper relationships, and truly, like, I feel like every relationship I have now is so much better than they used to be. And it's because I respect myself. That's where it starts. And they see that. And I've been able to be like a role model and example for people who were struggling with that, including some of my siblings, because this is how we were raised, right? So they had a lot of the same tendencies as I did. And now it's so much better. And it's my business too. Like it trickles into everything. And so when you're like, so what don't you put up with? I'm like,
Absolutely.
Literally nothing. Like people take me seriously.
Yeah. And that I love that. We the way we get treated is we actually, you know, we get what we
Right.
can tolerate. So at certain point, going back to your old Amy, it's because you allowed that, and then you were tolerating this for so long, and that's how unfortunately you were treated. But once you change that, once you don't allow this and you show up differently, then, as you mentioned, then the people around you start showing up differently
Yeah, I
towards
always
you as
tell
well.
my clients and people,
Yeah.
that when we're talking about this, like, you teach people how to treat you. So what are you
Exactly.
teaching them?
Yeah.
What are you tolerating? What are
Yeah.
you putting up with? And the good news is, like, I truly have fallen in love with myself on a pretty deep level. Like, I'm just like, wow, like, because I've endured a lot, I've gone through a lot, but I like how I've treated people along the way. I haven't been mean. I haven't lashed out. Like, it's like I've still showed up in a place of love even when there was hurt. But looking back, it's like made me have more appreciation for myself, to where I'm like, I'll have boundaries, but if you're in my world, you know that I love you, and you know that I'm going to be kind. I'm going to treat you well. Um, but I won't put up with certain behaviors. I just won't, but they know that. And it's become like
Yeah.
a really beautiful thing. And I've had to learn it with, I also have stepchildren. By the way, being a stepmom's not the easiest thing on the planet, but like through different roles that I've just had, motherhood, ex-wife, stepkids, like trickier roles than some people have. It's like you get to know yourself pretty well, but who I am today, so different than who I was then. So different. And it's like it makes you proud.
So who are you today? What does your
Oh
life look
gosh.
like
Well,
today?
I live a pretty dreamy lifestyle, actually. So I did remarry. I told you I've had stepkids. So I did remarry. I have a really supportive, amazing husband. When I said yes, I wanted to, by the way.
I actually met Amy's husband. He is really supporting, and he is amazing. He is an amazing human being, and I'm so happy for
Yeah.
you.
So I met him, and we have 7 kids together. We have, within just a few years, we built a really incredible lifestyle. We have multiple businesses that we run. We live in a multimillion-dollar neighborhood. We travel the world. Like, we do so many things. And I always want to just be a beacon of strength and a beacon of hope for women, because I know what it's like to be dead broke and to be completely unhappy. And I also know what it's like to feel like pure joy and feel totally at peace with yourself and build something that's incredible, incredible for your family and for just even making a difference and impact in the world. And so when I talk about like me, like I've fallen really deep in love with myself, it's because it's where I've been and who I've been along the journey. It's like you do get to know yourself pretty deep when you go through a lot of different traumatic events, and just knowing that you can get, it's a story. It's part of your story. It's a chapter is what I'm trying to say. It's a chapter in your story. And so when you ask, who are you? Like, the simple question is, I'm like, I see myself as like a total goddess, because like I am a godly person. Like, there's a spirit inside me that's old and wise and wants big things. And so I listen to her, whereas I used to shush her. I listen to her and I lean into what she has to say. And if I believe in a higher being and I believe that we're part of that, then that also means you. It means everybody. And if that's who you are, then what do you put up with? What do you accept? What do you allow? But also, how do you show up in your relationships? How do you show up for the people that are in your life? And how do you make them feel when they're with you? There's a lot to it, but it's a really like amazing place to be. And I know I'm still on my journey. Life is not perfect, but I'm like, back then, my young mom self would never have dreamed that this is where I would be now today.
Yeah, wow, I love that. Yeah, I love it. Well, it's a life, it's a journey. And yeah, like we were taught, and especially as women, and you shared this too, is to keep quiet. And I love how you mentioned this, to own your voice. It's own your voice, believe in yourself, your dreams, and stay true to yourself. So I absolutely love this. This is amazing. I'm so happy for you, excited, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
This is amazing. So for those of you that are watching us, stick around. What happens at the end is exactly why this episode matters. So now that you shared what life looks like for you today, So then you're on a mission and you're doing an amazing work. So if you can just share us a little bit, what called you to do this work and what are you
Yeah. So
doing
what's
now?
called me to do this work is who I used to be. I have a really big heart for women who feel like they can't speak up in rooms. They don't have a place at the table. They feel like they don't belong. They're going through lots of trauma or different things. And so that was me, right? And that is like, so I have a really big heart for that. So showing women what's possible is my mission, being an example of what's possible and helping them along the way. And what that looks like is I help women. I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs. That's not to say I don't work with people outside of that, but I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs bringing their dreams to life. And so whatever I always tell my clients, like whatever's on your heart, that's your soul telling you that you can. And so I help them build and scale whatever's on their heart, whatever they're dreaming about. Sometimes it's women who already have a business. It's sometimes women who are like, I just can't start. I don't know what's going on, but like I'm scared, So helping them through those fears and showing them how to speak up, how to have boundaries while also creating like really simple business systems so that they can. Because another big value of mine is freedom, like being able, like for me, I love to travel. I love to spend time with my family and I love to do what I want to do. So I don't want to have a day job 9 to 5. And so I like to teach women and show them that they don't have to. So those are the women that I work with. I also work with women around mindset and helping them reframe. That's a lot of work that I had to do on myself, and it's like completely shifted and changed my life. So that's what I do.
Wow, this is beautiful. This is amazing. So you're working with the business owners, with women. Then let me ask you this: like, what do you notice the recurring stories of your clients, like the recurring challenges that they're all facing and going through?
It's the biggest recurring thing is imposter syndrome. They don't feel like they're worthy. They don't think that, that they matter compared to someone else. They're comparing themselves to someone that's further down the journey, who's making more money or who has, different talents than they do. And I just like to tell my clients and anyone listening, like you have unique strengths that are unique to you. And when you understand what those are and how to use them in your benefit, it doesn't matter. Like you will be successful. And so the biggest thing, like I said, is imposter syndrome. But the next thing is mom guilt, wife guilt, that they have to serve everyone else. And I'm like, no, you can do all of it at the same time. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming or too much. Like you can start with what you have. And really, again, if it keeps like tapping you, if it's like on your heart and you're not doing something, then there's some self-betrayal there. And so working them through that self-betrayal as well. So like the guilt, the shame, the betrayal, it's like working through some of those deep things, then clear the space for them to be like a magnet to what it is that they want to build and attract.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think we all go through this, especially as a woman, this woman guilt. I know I definitely went through this, being a business owner and trying in the first part of my life, and especially having two small kids, was focused so much on building my business career success. And obviously with that, the guilt came into the place. But yeah, it's knowing your self-worth and enough that, I always had that feeling of not enough. So I think like for women, we all go through these challenges, through these feelings. So what helps you today to stay on track? And whenever, listen, we're all still human beings. And me, for myself, certainly, I still, I do not wake up every single morning jumping out of the bed with joy, feeling, okay, life is beautiful and I have enough. So what tools do you have in your toolbox, certain routines that you follow that keep you stay on the track?
I love that you like, I don't always feel this way because I woke up that way. Like I actually usually am at a pretty big high. I have a lot of energy and I'm at a pretty big high. This morning I didn't wake up that way. And I literally had to walk into my husband's office and be like, does what I do matter? I mean, I was asking this and I coach on it all the time. So I'm not perfect is what I want to, that's not an often day, but today was one of those where I'm like, geez, like, because you will feel like you're putting out so much, you're creating so much, you're helping so much. And sometimes it's like, is any of this even landing? But at this very same time, so that was this morning. Then I told you I went to this like pool party for a little bit this morning. I go over there and none of these women know what I do. They're my neighbors. I mean, they know what I do, but not really. They're like, oh, Amy's doing her thing. She's writing books. She's speaking on whatever. But they commented on some like amazing posts that I had like written that really struck home, and they aren't even my target market. So I'm like, okay, what I'm doing matters, right? But it was like, you get in your head. Yeah. As far as what I do on the daily though, I pour into myself every single morning, no matter what. And what that looks like is I have my grateful journal. I always work out. I don't miss a workout. I work out 6 days a week because that fuels me for the rest of my day. I take my vitamins. I make sure that I have enough sleep. Like I do a lot of the things, that people have on their quote, quote list, but I truly, truly do them. I also, down to the little things, I think that this matters, even though it might sound silly, is taking my dog on a walk because he needs to go on a walk. But when he's on a walk, this is what sounds silly, is I have the poop bag. Like I live in a neighborhood where it's, we're not like in a city. And so a lot of people allow their dogs to poop on people's lawns. Out of integrity, that doesn't feel good to me. And so, of course, I'm going to bring my poop bag. And if he poops, I clean up the poop. Sounds so simple. If you're not, if you're in the city, it's what you do. But my point is, it's those little tiny decisions that you make every single day for yourself that keep you vibing at a higher level. Yeah. So I don't want to be the neighbor that leaves poop on someone's lawn. And so I don't do that. And in my daily regimen, I get outside. I take my dog on the walk. I do my workouts. I make sure I'm vitamins, enough water, my grateful, starting with my grateful journal and meditation in the morning. So it's like I do have a pretty strict morning ritual. And I don't really, everybody is different, but I don't like to take a call before 10:30 in the morning. My mornings are my sacred time. And so it's all about setting the stage for the rest of the day. But by doing that, 95% of the time, I'm living in a very high vibe state. This morning was different. And we did have something happen to us last night that kind of like shifted our energy, me and my husband's, that was unexpected. And so that happened. And I woke up in this little bit of a funk, but then again, realized it, went to him, I was like, hey, I need to hear from you for a minute. Is what I'm doing matters? Like, is this all for nothing? And what's funny is I say that and he's like, look at what you've built. Of course it's not, I'm like, okay, but sometimes you feel that way. I feel that way. And it's like also then getting out of that, okay, so here I am. Am I going to let this follow me the rest of the day? Or can I talk to someone, go do something that then snaps me out of it? And that is what I essentially did. So I talked to him and then I went, did some socializing and was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. You go help some more people, help someone, and then immediately it's very rewarding. You feel much better. And I love how you mentioned, the morning ritual. It's very important to have the morning ritual and to have all these tools in your toolbox to know, okay, we're all human beings. We all go through these emotions. There's something might happen. There's external factors that affect our life, but it's just being able to use these tools in your toolbox with you. You have your gratitude journal that you do that keeps you on focus and reminds you what you're doing is matters, and feeling grateful that enough is, to pay attention more to what we have versus what we don't have. Because I think a lot of the times we focus so much on what we don't have. And this is where the feeling of not enough comes into the place. And I love how you mentioned that you're not taking any phone calls before 10:30. I do exactly the same thing. I think it's
important to know what your bandwidth is. Some people want to take them early, right? And if that's you, that's great. But for me, I would almost have resentment like, oh my gosh. It's like, I don't actually have to do that. Like I've decided to have this life of mine, which means that I get to design it. And what that looks like is this. And then I spend time doing me and with my family and whatever that looks like, but it sets the stage for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, absolutely love that. So now you are where you are, being the business owner, the leader, have 7 kids. Wow, this is like, so then let me ask you this question then. How do you stay awake without burned out? How do you keep that work-life balance? And what does the work-life balance means to you?
I don't believe in work-life balance. I think that you need to make sure you're aligned with what you are doing and who you are. And again, it comes down to the choices, like I said, with like the poop bag. So silly, but that feels good to me, right? And so it's doing what feels good to you. And my life is busy. We do have 7 kids. We have lots of schedules. And then we have multiple businesses that we run. So it's like I do have to shift hats. I'm a personality that can do that, and I know that I can. And so it's also knowing your limits. Um, what else was I going to see around that? Oh, the work life balance. It's also understanding your values, what they are, and that you're aligned with them. So I am someone who can
Yeah.
work, and never stop. I really can just keep going. Energizer bunny. But my values are more freedom, and my values are family. And so for me, like having those be first, if I'm doing a lot of work, like, am I doing this for the family in some way or another? Does this feel aligned? And then spending that time. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I seriously have been blessed with the coolest kids. They are so awesome. I love them. I mean, everyone loves their kids, right? But I just look at them, I'm like, you guys are amazing. I love you. And so I love to spend time with my kids. And um, if I don't create that time, then I start to feel out of alignment with myself. And so work life balance, it's going to be different for everybody else, but there's also seasons where things like, if there's a big launch, if there's extra calls on the calendar, if there's like things they're taking more of me and more of my energy, then I might feel like that, balance. That's why I like don't really believe in it. It's going to shift a little bit, but that doesn't mean that now, because I did that, I now can go take an amazing trip and be all in on my kids, So we have some big trips coming up in the next couple months. And so am I doing a little bit more right now because I'm going to be able to completely unplug? Yes. And it's worth it to me. Last night, my boys came home really late, but they're teenagers. And so they want to talk like crazy and they want to tell you all the things. I was so tired. But I also was like, I don't want to miss this moment. And so they just came in my room and we just sat there and talked forever. It's like, that felt good to me. That was more important than me being tired, So it's like just knowing what
Yeah.
essentially feels good to you. There might be times where like I can't talk to my kids tonight. They just need to go to like I'm going to bed. But it's truly being aligned with who you are, who your values are, or what your values are, and feeling at peace with it. If you're feeling conflict, then you're not in alignment, and it's time to question that and really ask why you're doing what you're doing, why you don't feel alignment. Do you feel like how do you feel towards your relationship if you are a mom, like with your kids? Are there things that feel sticky? Get curious as to why, because you can shift and change all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that. And I love how you mentioned the values, because I remember me myself, I noticed that too when I was doing one time when I was working on myself, my transformation. And I actually put down my values, and my values are similar too. I love freedom and family. And health, obviously. And then, like when I put this down, and I used to work a lot. I used to work like literally, I would say 24 hours. I remember one time, even my daughter, she was at that moment, she was like 9 months and she was teething. I came home from work at 8 o'clock in the morning and I was working 7 days, like around the clock. So anyway, and then like years later, I started doing this exercise with the values, and then I put down that my values are freedom and health and the family. And then yet I noticed when I went over my activities, day-to-day activities, that I wake up in the morning, I take care of my kids, I send them to school, and then I go to work, and then I come home at night, and then I see like this whole pattern. And I was like, okay, so if I value health, if I value family, freedom, then I'm not doing
Yeah.
any of this. So yeah, and I love how you actually mentioned. I am in terms of the like work-life balance. Me too. I mean, I consider it. It's like very popular subject right now. I think like it's like
Mhm.
so trendy, but I see a lot of people seeing, okay, like I work for 8 hours and then 8 hours I do nothing. I mean, I'm just like you. I hate to waste time, so like I love to work. But it's important, as you mentioned, it's important to align
Yeah.
with your values. So like I'm okay to work 12, 14 hours as long as I create the time to spend for myself, for my loved ones. So that's what
Yeah.
the work-life balance would
Yeah. Like
mean for me as
you feel
well.
good about the choices you're making. And that's a good indicator. It's like, do I
Yeah.
like who I am? Do I like who I'm treating? Do I
Yeah.
like who I am, how I'm treating myself, how I'm treating my family, how I'm showing up at my work? If all the answers are like a yes,
Yeah.
then you're probably doing a great job. And everybody has different bandwidths, especially in different seasons. So it's like knowing what those are. Like now in my season, my kids are at ages where they are I actually am laughing about it. Like I hadn't seen my boys. So they're the youngest that are still at home. And then our other kids have gotten older, but I hadn't seen them in a little bit. And I was like, man, I'm like missing my boys. Because they had been with their dad. They'd gone on this vacation. And I was just telling this to my husband. And I'm like, and then also when they do come, sometimes I feel like, they just take care of themselves. He's like, well, that's because you worked yourself out of a job. Like they're so independent, like, and we still do
Yeah.
spend time together, but like the needing me like they used to, that's gone. But now it's about spending time,
Yeah.
even if it's at 11:30 at night, I'm tired, but they want to tell me all the things, let them come tell me all the things. And so it's like
Yeah.
liking the choices that you make and feeling like good in those choices. And if you do that, then I think you're fine.
Yeah, I love that. And that's what freedom is all about. It's freedom of the choices. It's to have the choices to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do, with whomever you
Yeah.
want to do. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, all right. Friends, trust me, you want to stay till the end, as what Amy is going to share with us at the end may shift something deep inside of you. So I have some deep, powerful, some questions, deep questions. If you do not mind if to share with us some things maybe that are too personal. If you don't mind, then we can go over these questions.
Shoot away. I'm good.
All right, let's do this. So what's your current guilty pleasure that actually brings you joy?
My guilty pleasure. Geez, that actually brings me joy. My husband and I, we like to go dancing. And so sometimes, and I like to feel sexy. And so my guilty pleasure is like, we will go to Cancun or somewhere that people don't see us. So I could dress however I want. And we can just like dance all night long. So I don't know if that's like a super guilty pleasure, but we do that. And like, I think our neighbors would be like, what? Like, why do you go to Cancun so much? But that's where we have found like a fun dance club and where I just get to feel how I feel and he gets to just enjoy it too. And so I would say that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, love that.
It's okay to feel sexy, guys. Also, again, my religious background was like fully covered, like everything like that was not okay. And so it's like I feel like a tiny little bit of like a rebel, I guess, by like doing that, even though it's like not even a big deal. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. So what's one thing you used to believe about yourself that you no longer
One
do?
thing that I used to believe about myself, I really would say that it's that my voice wasn't important. That I needed to in order to be liked, it was shrink who I am. I'm a very big personality and I'm very bubbly and whatever. And it's like that was too much for people. So to letting go of that and owning that I do matter, that my voice matters, and that being a big personality is actually a strength feels much better. So that's one change.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you do matter and your voice matters. I love that. All right. So, ocean or forest, where do you feel most like yourself?
Honestly, probably when I'm having a massive party. I love to have a party.
So it's not ocean and it's not forest.
No, ocean or forest. I actually am both. So I'm really both. But I like to have a good party. So I would say party up in the mountains or a party by the ocean, by the beach. So
okay, so you're the
I
party
literally
girl.
am the party girl. You ask anyone around me, and it's like I want a big pool party. I want to go dancing. I will like dress in glow in the dark clothes and like have a bunch of people over, whatever, with the black lights. Like that is where I love. But ocean or forest. I do both. I live in the mountains and we go to the ocean all the time. So I'm neither.
Okay, all right. What song that always lifts your mood?
Oh gosh. Again, I just said I'm a party person. So I like lots of songs. If I were to choose one, there's a lot of songs, but the one comes to my mind is Salt. I'm laughing. It's Salt and Pepper. Not What a Man. It's Shoop. I can, Shoop. I can always sing and dance to that one.
Okay, all right, love that. What's your anchor? The thing that brings you back to your center?
The thing that brings me back to my center is working out when I'm in my own head and when I'm like pushing my body. It is working out.
Okay, all right. So what's the boldest yes you have ever said?
The boldest yes. I don't know if this counts, but it's the one that comes to my head. Is I made a really scary investment opportunity. So I said yes to an investment opportunity that was like super bold and scary. We had to come up with like we have other investments, but this one was like over $1 million. And it was the first time I had done something like that. So it was like super bold, super scary. And I said yes to it and to myself to do it. And it's like moving through that fear, I felt like I got so much more power from just that self-trust that this is going to be okay. And it was okay. And it was amazing. And we still have that property and it's been awesome. So it's kind of a weird one, but that's what came up because it was so scary.
Well, no, it's not weird. So it's a pretty big decision. And when we talk about, wow. Okay. All right. A part of your life you are still learning to love.
Say that again.
A part of your life you are still learning to love.
A part of my life that I'm still yearning to love.
Learning to love.
I would actually say it is the family dynamic between my kids and my stepkids. Because it has like with what that has been, it's been tricky. I mean, my kids are in a very different space than what his kids are because of how they've been raised versus how his have been raised. And so learning to love that it's okay, like the fact that our family looks different, that's it. It's the fact that our family looks different than a lot of other families and that there's a lot of conflict that wasn't because of us that we still have to work through. And that, like, I guess that it's okay, because I had what I wanted and what I wanted didn't happen. Like I ended up divorced and then remarried and then more kids and then really hard exes. Like all of that wasn't what I had envisioned for myself. And so we're still in it, even though we've been in it for a while, it's still something that's always something that like we call it blending. Like you're never quite blended. I'm learning to love that that's okay. And that there's good in it. Cause it's a lot of times like easier to see all of the things that are not perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. So what's one word that makes you feel powerful?
I'd be goddess, that we are essentially like eternal beings. And when I think about who that is, like what she is, if she's a queen, like what she's doing, which if I stay in that, it feels very powerful and very like magnetic.
Yeah. I love that. What's one thing you wish every woman
that she's
knew?
Worthy. She's worthy. She was born worthy. Her talents, everything that she has that is unique is beautiful, and that she needs to see that it's beautiful and accept it, because the world would be very boring if we all were the same. And so she's worthy. She was born worthy. Let go of all of those, just the things that you're saying between your ears, the thoughts that you're thinking, the things you're saying to yourself, let go of those, because if the people you love most don't tell you those things, then you shouldn't be telling yourself those things either. You're celestial, you're godly, you're beautiful.
Yeah, love that. All right. So coffee, tea, or cacao for a soulful conversation?
Say that one more time. Did I get that?
All right. So which one do you like? Is it coffee, tea, or cacao for the soulful conversation?
Gosh, cacao? I'm not sure. um,
Well, what do you typically drink? Coffee, tea, or
okay, I see what
cacao?
you're saying. Neither, none. I don't drink any of those. That's why I didn't know. I don't drink. I know.
Okay, all right. So you are the healthy. Yes, you are. All right. So you love water,
Yeah,
I
I got my
assume.
water right here. That's the thing. I am not any of those. So that's why I'm
Okay.
like, I don't know.
All right. No, that's fine. I do drink water too, but whenever it comes, I always have to have my cup of tea at dinner or whenever I like sit down with someone. So it's for me
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
tea.
everybody's different. I'm just like such a water consumer. Sometimes I get really crazy and I put some lemon in
Yeah.
it. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Yep. All right. So what's a metrics rule you broke and never looked back?
A metric that I broke. I would say it is allowing men to mistreat you. I'm
Mm,
not a man hater, guys. I do
okay.
love men, but I had allowed men, not just my ex, not just my dad, but I had allowed men to mistreat me, and I no longer do.
Good. Love that. I love that. Who do you become when no one is watching?
Um, honestly, I'm proud of who I become. um, I who do I become when no one's watching? I feel like I am who I am. So whether you're watching me or not, I try to make the best choices and be the best person that I can be so that I feel firm in my integrity and in my honesty and in my like that I'm never self-betraying. Not to say I'm perfect because I'm not, but I am who you see at any given time. Sometimes I might be dancing because I'm hyper to a good song, but this is me.
Oh, love that. Okay. All right. And lastly, what's the next age you're about to cross?
The next age.
Yeah. Like, what's the next thing?
Oh,
Like,
okay,
what's the
okay,
next
okay.
goal
Sorry.
that you're about to
Yeah.
challenge yourself on?
I actually have a lot of things that I'm working on right now. So I'm in the middle of authoring 2 more books. So I'm writing 2 of my own, and then I'm also part of 2. So 2 of those that will come out, like the anthologies, those will come out early next year, both of them. And then my own book, I want to have come out by my first one that I finished by the end of next year. And then I'm also working on some pretty big things when it comes to like some of our investments and stuff. So just taking it to the next income level and um, helping as many women as I can along the way.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. Wow. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing. Thank you. And I'm really looking forward to
Thank
reading the
you.
books and learning more about all the secrets that you're sharing. Thank you.
Thank
This is
you. It's
amazing.
been an honor to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this. My life model is it's all in your hands. What does it mean
I
for you?
love that. It is. It just all is in your hands. Like whatever you want. It's the same thing that I'm saying in different words, right? Whatever you want, whatever's on your heart, you can build, and you're the one that can get you there. You're the one that can get you there because you're the one that knows what you want. You're the one that's going to be able to take care of yourself the best. You're the one that's going to be able to rise to the occasion. It's just working with um, those negative thoughts that you might have. But it's all in your hands means that you get to call the shots. And that if you like your
Yeah.
income, it's because of what you've done. If you don't like your income, it's because of what you've done. If you like your relationship, it's because of what you've chosen. If you don't like your relationship, again, you chose it. So it's understanding that you are the person that's in your driver's seat. So like where you're going.
Yeah, I love that. So what would be some of the last words of wisdom that you would like to share with our
Yeah.
viewers?
It would be that no matter what it is that you're building, whatever it is that you're building in your, personal life, professional life, whatever it is, just keep moving through those like sticky parts, the fears, the self-doubt, all of those things. I like to say, it's a quote I heard a long time ago. I don't even know who it comes from, but the cave you fear holds the treasure you seek. And so
Oh,
you
wow.
have to go
Yeah.
through that scary cave because your treasure is inside there. And what that looks like is, you do the scary thing and you breed confidence. You go through that divorce and now there's love on the other side. You make some crazy financial decisions that are a little bit scary, but now you're able to live in freedom because you've made those. It's like going through life, getting uncomfortable, knowing that discomfort, you grow from the discomfort. So go through the cave, the cave you fear holds the treasure you seek.
Wow. Yeah, I love this. This is very powerful. This is very powerful. Yeah. And, like we all go through this fears, doubt, self-confidence, and the fear, obviously, I think that's the biggest thing that is stopping us. But it's when the biggest breakthrough happens on the other side of the fear. And it's obviously, it is challenging, it's scary to break through, to go through that. And I love how you shared your story, and I hope for those of you that was with us throughout this whole episode and learned something very powerful through all the stories that Amy shared with us, and then some of it maybe deeply resonate with you, because a lot of the times, we see like right now you have this beautiful life that you're enjoying, but it was not always like that. And all human beings, we all go through all these challenges throughout our life, but it's taking the actions and taking the steps to get through these challenges and the fears. And this is when something beautiful opens and something beautiful on the other side. So I hope those of you that stayed with us and watched, and you can connect and see that it's all possible. It's all in your hands, and you are enough. You are beautiful. Just keep dreaming, believing in yourself, and it's all possible. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, you're beautiful people. And remember, the most meaningful stories begin where the matrix ends. And we'll see you in the next episode. And remember, it's all in your hands. Thank you for watching.